going on, guys? It is Aiden Hutchinson.
What's up, man? It's your boy Amon-Ra St. Brown.
What's going on, Coach Dan at Lions Talk Live and the Blue Crew? This is Ball Hawk, Fatima, the founder of the Detroit Lions. Everybody make sure you help support the YouTube channel Lions Talk Live by clicking that like and subscribe button. Let's get it and go Detroit.
Greetings and salutations to everyone out there in YouTube land. This is Dan Skipper, offensive weapon for the Detroit Lions. Make sure you all help support Lions Talk Live, Coach Dan, by clicking on that like and subscribe button. Everybody. Woo!
All right. Well, greetings and salutations, everybody out there in YouTube land. I am your host once again, Dan Thornton, and I want to thank you all for joining us here today. Hey, it is Lions Talk Live, and guess what day it is? It is the day for the Super Bowl, and every Lions fan out there is going to be watching tonight's game thinking, man, oh man, we should be here for the second straight year. It is what it is, though. Someone did us dirty. Maybe you could blame the NFL. Maybe you could blame all the Taylor Swift thieves or whatever for having the fix in for the Kansas City Chiefs. Whoever you want to blame, whatever you want to do, we've got 5 players for you to watch tonight in the game to say, hey, these guys could be future Detroit Lions and help get us to the Super Bowl next year. We're going to dive into that. Before we get into that, the 5 headlines now and all that kind of stuff, I want to real quick ask you if you could do us a favor here on the show. If you haven't yet subscribed to Lions Talk Live, please consider doing so. We are 92 subs away from hitting 13,200, so the march is on. If you can help out, please reach on down, hit that subscribe button. While you are reaching down, hitting that subscribe button, don't be afraid to reach on over and hit that thumbs up, that like button. We try to get every episode of the show between 2, 3, 400 or more thumbs up or likes. As you probably know, if you've watched YouTube for any length of time, it helps out that content creator, that channel exponentially every time you get a thumbs up or like. Last but never least, if you are considering looking for something to read, maybe this off season, maybe while you're trying to pass some time before the Super Bowl, go ahead and head over to Amazon.com or wherever you find great reading literature and order yourself a copy of Kajora book. Kajora is the first in a 9-part series. It is based on historical fact with some fictional characters around it, allegedly fictional. It involves Native American and Japanese cultures meeting about 1,000 years before they set the ocean blue in 1492 to discover North America. So if you want to check it out, get into it and get the first copy or the first book before the second book releases later this year. Please consider doing that. And if you like it, leave a kind review. All right, with all that done out of the way, shaking and baking our way on over to the first segment of the show. And as you know, that is 5 headlines now. All right, after today, obviously free agency doesn't really officially begin, but you know what? After today, you're going to start hearing more and more of this stuff because let's face it, the playoffs are over. This season is over. So teams, whether they're doing it legally or not, are going to start having conversations with free agent players or soon to be due free agent players. You're going to hear more and more draft talk. You're going to hear more and more trade talk and all the other kind of talks. Hey, it's that time of year. We can sometimes get upset about it, but understand this. It's just the nature of the beast. Everything, everybody's record goes back to 0-0. Hope springs eternal. Chicago Bears fans are going to be swearing up and down. They're going to go, 18-0, 19-0 and win the Super Bowl or whatever. Lions fans are going to feel the same way. But let's dive into the 5 headlines now. All right, we're going to start off on a somber note here. Most of you probably are aware of this yesterday. If not, we'll bring you up to speed. Former Detroit Lions safety and defensive coordinator, you could even say he was the head coach for a little bit of time, dies at 74mlive.com by Ben Raven. For those who don't know, Dick Duran was one heck of a presence in the NFL for basically 50 years. He was drafted by the Detroit Lions. He was a cornerback / safety for them for a number of years. I want to say 5 years in all. Made the Pro Bowl once, had one season where he nearly became the defensive player of the year for the Detroit Lions. Played 8 seasons in all, some with the Cincinnati Bengals, some with the Detroit Lions. Ended that 8-year career with 25 interceptions. Now, Duran also went on to become a coach, as I was stating earlier. Did serve as Steve Mariucci's defensive coordinator here. When Mooch was fired in 2005, Duran did take over as the intern coach during that stay. He also had, times with the Chicago Bears, the Buffalo Bills. He'd coached quite a few different places. as a head coach, as a defense coordinator, one heck of a guy. And I would just say, even when Rod Marinelli got the job over him, a lot of Lions fans weren't happy about that, thought that Dick Duran should have actually been given the opportunity to do that. But it's a somber way to start your day. Well, even though the news came out yesterday, but yeah, Dick Duran, one heck of a former Lion, one heck of a coach, one heck of a player. He has retired to the playing fields in the sky, and will send a thought or prayer wishing him and his family well. All right, moving on from that. Hey, C.J. Gardner-Johnson, the former Detroit Lion, back in the headlines once again leading into the big game. C.J. Gardner-Johnson says Lions wanted him back, changed minds before playoffs. Story by Bill Rossetti of USA Today. So if you guys remember yesterday's show, and maybe even the day before that, I don't totally remember, C.J. Gardner-Johnson said that his season here in Detroit was basically hell, didn't enjoy it, not a great time, felt lied to left and right. This story is, again, this one came out late yesterday. Gardner-Johnson went in a second interview and gave more details, what he meant about the hell comment, etc. Gardner-Johnson says that he was promised if he played, a superior season, his 1-year deal in Detroit, he'd be granted a multi-year deal, would be a permanent fixture here, etc. It sounds like both sides had negotiated that deal leading right up to the playoffs. And then for whatever reason, leading into the playoffs, the Lions backed off, said, hey, let's wait until after the playoffs to sign this. This didn't sit well with Gardner-Johnson because according to him, his friendship, I guess you could say, with Aaron Glenn and Dan Campbell, or why he decided to come on over to the Lions. That was not originally a part of his plan. Now, he battled his way back, according to Gardner-Johnson, to do everything he could to get back to the team for the playoffs. And if you guys remember, he came back, I want to say, with a game or two, something like that, right before the playoffs. Most people did not anticipate he would be back that year after blowing out his pectoral muscle, but he worked overtime to get back there, to get that new deal. And then once he did get back, according to Gardner-Johnson, the Lions kind of reneged on it, and that is why he is less than happy with the organization. Felt like he was lied to, etc. Trying to remove, any bit of emotions or whatever, or fandom from the situation. Here's what I can say. I really like Gardner-Johnson as a player. I also think from a personality standpoint, he did not fit in here. Just some of his, not like anything was egregious over the top with some of his antics or things he did on the field or off the field, but he just didn't seem like everybody else in that locker room, and I think that's why the Detroit Lions decided to move on from him. Again, trying to reference the 49ers NFC title game, Lions obviously had the big lead, 17 points at the halftime, and Gardner-Johnson was, you could see the cameras were on him. He was taunting the fans in San Francisco. That just doesn't appear to be the type of stuff that MC Brad Holmes want with their particular team of players, which is probably why they pulled back on extending him in his time here in Detroit. All right, Pro Football Focus selects Hassan Reddick's, quote, best landing spots this offseason. USA Today story by Cam Towell with this one. And, hey, it just seems like we keep getting more and more people talking about Reddick coming to Detroit. Now, keep in mind, Brad Holmes this past year did have some publicly known comments or conversations with the Jets about possibly acquiring him to be a Detroit Lion once Aiden Hutchinson went down. That ended up not happening. The Jets did end up re-signing him, getting him for the year, etc. Now he is a free agent. Could he come to Detroit? He would fit in a lot of different things. Could you have him as the Sam backer, third down, obviously pass rushing specialist? And yeah, I think he could fit in there. It wouldn't cost anything on their contract, and not that the contract's nothing, but I would suspect the Lions will at least consider the idea of getting him. I don't know if they're going to go for him. I just don't know if he would fit in as an every down player for Detroit based on how we play, but he would definitely fit some holes for us. All right, Lions trade proposal moves Hendon Hooker in package for $94 million Pro Bowler. SB Nation, Mike Moranis with this one. Hey, we all get it. It is that time of year, and Mike Moranis has a trade proposal for the Las Vegas Raiders. I got to remember not to say L.A., where the Lions would send 2 first-round picks for Max Crosby. Lions would get Crosby. They would send Hendon Hooker and get 2 fifth-round picks back in return. Would I make that deal? No. That's just me. I don't want to give up 2 first-round picks for Max Crosby. Would I give up one and something else? on top of Hendon Hooker? Yeah, I would do that, but you know what? They don't ask me. Let me know, Duke Crew. I guess Hassan Reddick, why or no, or you can just put Reddick, no, or why or whatever, and then Max Crosby. As Mike Moratis is reporting, would you give up 2 first-round picks and Hendon Hooker for Max Crosby? Why or no? And then you could just put Max, yes or no. Let's see. Detroit radio host rips Aiden Hutchinson for comments about Myles Garrett. Sideline report. Brad Berryman with this one. Anybody who watches Valetti and Rico on 97.1 The Ticket probably knows what I'm talking about here, or this story is talking about here. Valetti did go off, I want to say it was Friday, about Aiden Hutchinson. Said he didn't, in a nutshell, paraphrasing here, didn't like the way Aiden Hutchinson kind of commented about the Lions potentially trying to go out and get Myles Garrett. Aiden Hutchinson seemed very analytical on it and just said, basically said, I don't see the team paying, whatever ended up being $80 million per season for the front 4 of the Detroit Lions on defense. And that's all, in my opinion, he really said. Valetti, is he just trying to fill up airtime with trying to get some comments out there? It is a slower time in sports-based radio, just like it is on YouTube or whatever, when it comes to the Detroit Lions, because there's not a daily topic usually during the offseason. Doesn't mean there aren't days there aren't, but to me, this was much to do about nothing. Valetti, I actually don't mind the guy. I know some of you hate the guy. I just think he was looking for something to talk about. Aiden Hutchinson, maybe he would have been better off just saying, hey, whatever Brad Holmes wants to do, that's what I'm going to back and support. Or, geez, it'd be great playing next to another all-world defensive end. At the end of the day, I just didn't think it was that big a thing. All right, let's get done with the 5 headlines now and get us on over to the main topic of the day. You got to find that button. Buttons, and I got a lot of buttons. All right, so as you can probably tell for today's thumbnail, we've identified 5, you could maybe say 6 or 7 guys that will be free agents playing in today's game, the Super Bowl, that could potentially be Detroit Lions. We're going to go through the list, and, hey, just like everything else, you put the person's name and say Y for yes or N for no if you think this would be a bad idea. First one off the bat is going to be for the Chiefs. That's going to be defensive tackle, and I apologize if I murder anybody's name. Tershaw Wharton. I always kill that one. He did have a career-high 6.5 sacks this year, 7 tackles for loss during the regular season. He also followed that with a sack in each of Kansas City's playoff games through thus far in the postseason. 6 total pressures the postseason, according to Pro Football Focus. Wharton is clearly the best pass rusher and run defender based on his PFF grades. Not that should be the Bible or, one all, be all, whatever. But he's 6'1". He's got a big body frame with Aleem McNeil status. Really, he'll be back next year. It's just going to be a question of when. My personal anticipation is probably like early November, late October, somewhere in that time frame. So would you want to get Wharton out there? I guess this ultimately comes down to what does the Lions front office feel about when it comes to Broderick Martin? Or do you try to draft somebody else too? I guess we'll wait and see. But Wharton, I don't think is going to break the bank acquiring him. And I do think he would be a player of big interest for the team. Next is on the group we're going to have here is for the Eagles. This is going to be a cornerback. And I mentioned him before. I want to say last week. Isaiah Rodgers. Is he an elite cornerback? No. Is he a dang good one? I would say yes. Is he a little undersized? That would also be the case. He is basically 5'10", 170 pounds. That is light. Let me tell you, there is not a lot of meat on that bone if you're 5'10" and 170 pounds. But could you add him for a depth reason? If you really think Rakestraw is going to be someone who pans out for you, if you believe in Amik Robinson, who still has one more year on his deal, if you got Terrion Arnold, and I do think Arnold had a real good rookie year. So right there, you've got potentially your starting 3. Now you're going to need some depth there. Isaiah Rodgers, whether or not you think he could be the slot cornerback or a depth piece, I do think he would be a person of interest. Rodgers hasn't played a ton this season, 328 snaps over 15 regular season games since the Eagles went with a 3-tier cornerback system with Darius Slay, Quentin Mitchell, and Cooper DeJean. So he's probably the odd guy out there. Does it also mean you could get him a little bit cheaper That is something to pay attention to, as we all get. Brad Holmes is always trying to balance that checkbook and try to keep expenditures down. Next I got for you is another Chief, and this is a linebacker, Josh Uche. I would probably kill his name, so you guys will light me up in the comment section, I'm sure, about that. But you guys, if you've watched this guy, he plays with some velocity. He is somebody that can play both linebacker for us and, if needed, pass rush specialist, defensive end. Uche had barely played for Kansas City, with 50 of his 87 snaps coming their meaningless regular season finale. He has not played in either of their playoff games to this point, so it's possible he will not return to them next year, and that's why I think he's on the list. Now, most of these guys, as you can tell, probably aren't projected to be big home run signings for the team, but they would be some nice depth pieces, in my opinion. Does Brad Holmes like to go value shopping? We all get, Dollar General. Brad Holmes likes those kind of guys. Uche did have a 72.7 pass rush grade from Pro Football Focus. He would have been a top 30 pass rush grade among edge defenders if he had played enough snaps to qualify. And that's kind of where I'm going with it. When you watch him when he's out there, he does play pretty well. And in the one game he did play, last game of the regular season, I thought he had a pretty dang good performance out there. All right, moving on down the line. I've mentioned this guy before, so it probably won't be a big surprise for you guys. This is from the Eagles. This is defensive end Josh Sweat, and it is no sweat that the Lions would probably want to go ahead and get after him. Sweat definitely lands more on an unlikely side for the Lions in free agency, given his top-tier status. He is somebody who will command, unlike the prior guys on this list, he's somebody who will command some legitimate interest for people. It would be my anticipation he's going to get a deal somewhere between 14, maybe 17 million a year, which would have him a little bit higher. So, but the other part of it is you don't have to really give up anything to get him other than, obviously paychecks. But anybody you're going to bring in is going to get a paycheck. Is he going to be the same as pairing with Garrett or Crosby or maybe some other elite level guy? No. But I think most of us agree it seems more like a Brad Holmes type move to add somebody of this level than it would be a Myles Garrett or Max Crosby. Doesn't mean we couldn't go with those guys, but I do think he would be an ideal fit for the Lions if they want to pay a little bit more in a paycheck to acquire somebody. All right, and the last I got for you guys, this one's probably going to be not one most of you will even pay attention to, and you won't be able to watch this guy today. You have to dig up some film on him. This is from the Eagles. He's a swing tackle / guard, Jack Driscoll. Driscoll hasn't played since week 8. He really had a bad ankle injury. Hasn't played at all since that time, but he did have 5 total starts this year. He's also been a reserve over time. He's somebody sort of like everybody other than Sweat on this list, I think would be a nice pickup value piece. Could he be a starter for you? Yes. Could he be a rotational guy out of the back who can play tackle and guard? Absolutely. So he'd be a real nice pickup from that equation. You're going to have veteran leadership coming off the bench. My personal opinion and still desire for the team is to re-sign Kevin Zeitler and have Christian Mahogany take over for Graham Glasgow. It's no disrespect for Graham Glasgow. I just think his better days are behind him. Could Driscoll come in and help add to the Lions' depth on the offensive line? Yes, I think that's also a possibility. All right, Duke Crew, let me know in the comments section why or no on any of these guys. There could be somebody else I'm not considering in today's game. Probably not going to be Gardner Johnson coming back to Detroit would be my guess. So, all right, let's head over to you guys, the Duke Crew, in the comments section, see what you guys have to say. If there are some other topics in regards to today's game, go by all means, throw them in the comments section. Don't forget to hit that subscribe and like button, by the way. All right, let me scroll to the top of the screen. Give me one moment, please. Michael, greetings, salutations, coach and Duke Crew, exclamation points, one pride, 100%, my friend. Go enjoy the game tonight. Lions strong football, 100%. I think it is. JDC, morning all, back at you. Henry Moore, good morning, Coach Dan of the Duke Crew. What a team. What a podcast. What a time to be a Lions fan. Go Lions. Woo, 100%. This is, outside of a couple of years in the 90s, this has been the biggest renaissance of Detroit Lions football. I get we're all less than satisfied with the fact that we're not in the Super Bowl today. But you know what? I know I've mentioned this before on the show. The fact that we got 18 weeks of football and I'm only disappointed on 3 of them, I'll take that anytime. All right, good morning, Coach Dan and crew. Can we get a woo for the crew? You want a woo? I'll give you a woo. How about a 1, 2, and a 3? Will you go? All right. Let's see. Stephanie, good morning, boys. Exclamation point. I'm going to watch this game tonight and think about what will it take for us to be there. I have a hard time believing we are far off. No, I think you're spot on. I don't think we're far off. And I know, probably it's been 2 weeks since we lost or something like that. It's all sunk in. Maybe if we wouldn't have had a gajillion injuries, maybe if we wouldn't have had a bad game offensively against the Commanders, that we would have made it to the championship game and potentially the Super Bowl. Is what it is. I'd say this, though, after the past 2 years, without a shadow of a doubt, we are in the elite conversations for teams in the NFL right now. If you can clearly say either one of these teams playing today are vastly better than us, then that's your opinion, but I just would say that's not my opinion. Before I forget again, though, let me know, everybody watching, what is your score predictions for tonight's game? I'm going to watch it kind of in the background. I don't know if I'm going to be that invested into the game, but I'm going to pick how about this? I'm going to pick the Chiefs to lose this game, and I'm going to take the Eagles to win by 7. So mark it down. France, good day all. Colin Cowherd listed Detroit as the most ideal spot for Garrett. Be honest, do we feel Brad will make that trade? Question mark. I want to believe, but struggle to think Holmes would. I think that's where probably most fans are with things, France. It's just, do we think that Brad Holmes will give up that kind of cheddar to get Garrett? I don't personally believe so, and I also don't think it's going to take 2 first-round picks to get him. That's my belief. If Myles Garrett really wants out, he's got basically all the chips in his corner at this point, because he can say, hey, you trade me or I ain't playing. And if he's really that steadfast to it, that's going to drive the price down, because teams know you got to get rid of them. Otherwise, you have a diminishing commodity. So I'd like to say that we have an opportunity, but I do think we're going to go in a different direction. I just don't see us giving up that kind of draft capital, personally. All right, Papa, good morning to all. Exclamation point. I do want our team to be assertive and address across the roster. Mr. Holmes will continue to draft well. I think you're right there. I think Brad Holmes' scouting department, it's one of the best in football. You're going to have them continue to add solid talent throughout. Susan Scott, good morning, Duke Crew, exclamation point. It would be my guess we signed 3 to 4 free agents. Yes, I can see us making it one trade, but after that, it's going to be all drafted players. Yeah, Brad Holmes doesn't mince any words about it. He believes in building through the draft, getting those younger players, getting those rookie contracts, and developing within. So, yeah, I think you're spot on. Voltron Force, good morning, Coach. Who is the best player for us to sign in free agency in your eyes? Ooh, boy, that's a great question. I guess I'd say Kevin Zeitler, because technically he is a free agent. He's somebody you already know of. He, in my opinion, doesn't have to be your opinion, he was a top 2 offensive guard in the league this year. If you could get one more year, even somewhat like that out of him, while bringing in Christian Mahogany and probably developing his replacement, I think this Lions offensive line would be the best in football, hands down. Pat, please sign Levi and Zeitler. Yeah, I would be way okay with Levi Onwuzurike getting re-signed too. I know a couple people had, I want to say, articles this past week about what is Levi's going price going to be in free agency. That's a great question, because I think his last month or so of the season, including the postseason, was pretty spot on. Sosimo, I have a thought for the Duke Crew. Why don't they move the Super Bowl to a Saturday? Question mark. Everyone calls into work sick the day after. Laughing out loud. Help some of us out. That's not a bad idea. And I have heard some people suggest that, because Mondays, the day after the Super Bowl, so many people do call in sick or whatever. I don't think it's a bad idea. Plus, you'd get, I believe, more people watching it, and that's going to be hard to do because so many people do watch it. But across the world, there's probably more people with a Sunday off of work than there is a Monday off work. So I think that's a pretty dang good idea. Dave, morning. Can't wait for this offseason to hit. I think it's going to be one of our most active ones ever. I would agree with that, Dave. I think you're going to see a whole lot of people, a whole lot of things happen this offseason for the Detroit Lions. Virgil, first time on the show. Hey, welcome to the Duke Crew. Found you yesterday, and I really enjoy the interactive aspects of it. Hey, glad it works for you, and we have a pretty good time 7 days a week doing this, so come on over. Let's see, Trey, what's good, Duke Crew? Question mark, going to need to get some stuff done today before heading out to a neighbor's for the game. Go enjoy it. Everyone have a great day. Woo! And woo at you too, my friend. And yeah, I think most of us are going to be trying to get work done or whatever else done before trying to prep for the game. Clark, trade talk, draft talk, free agency talk. That time of year is in full swing. Coach, thanks for the work you put in. Hey, anytime. I enjoy doing this. Hopefully you guys enjoy being part of it. 9 drinks. Best Super Bowl appetizers. Ooh, I do love me some buffalo dip, especially when I add some hot sauce to it. So that's a big plus for me. Head over to Sam's Club. They have one that's a buffalo dip there. It's the only place I can find that has it, but I think it's the chef's kiss of buffalo dips. So that's the one I'll go with. Let me know, I guess, in the comment section, everybody else, what's your favorite Super Bowl appetizers? Tori, sounds like you're going to get a lot of bad weather this month in my area. News is saying 5 different storefronts will hit the East Coast within weeks. Well, get ready for it. You know, Jen was mentioning something about that the other day about maybe February and March were going to be like the worst of winter, I guess, that we've had in a decade or so. Trey, 9 drinks, red hot wings for you. Go enjoy them then. Miles Mark, greetings, salutations. I'm having some sour grapes for breakfast today. I think a lot of us are, Miles. And yeah, I think that's just part of it, man. We all want to be playing this game, not watching this game. Jess, great question. 9 drinks, chili for me. Ooh, I do like some chili, especially turkey chili. Throw me a bowl or two. There you go, especially with some hot sauce. Eddie, greetings, salutations. You are by far not the only one, Miles Mark. Yeah, a lot of us are feeling that same way. Phil, what do you got? Good morning. Back at you. Phil, are you doing play-by-play, Daniel? No, if the Lions were playing, I would, but yeah, Lions aren't playing, so I'm just going to kick back and watch. 9 drinks. Sausage Stars are the bomb. Can't wait. Okay, I'll have to check those out. I'm not sure if I know what those are. Stephanie, if there was one must-make move this year, what are we all thinking it should be? Man, you're going to divide the community with that one because I know some of us really want Miles Garrett to come in. Others want Max Crosby. I mean, everybody's going to have a different take on that. I guess let me know, Duke Crew, if you really think there's one move we need to make this offseason, what is it? And throw it in there. George, good morning. Super Sunday! Exclamation points. Woo! Back at you. You know, just so I can clear my throat and not on air, I'll give you a 1, 2, and a 3. And there you go. Lions Talk Live fan, do you mean watch to see who gets hurt? There will probably be some hurt players there, but yeah, I do not have a list of people to root to get hurt. Sorry about that one. Johnny L, good morning, everyone. Back at you. Trey, adding defensive end, defensive tackle, cornerback Stephanie Wilder. Yeah, I'll go with that. That's not a bad idea. Clark, building the whole team up. Yeah, continuing, and that's probably what they're going to do, continue to add across the board. We get how Brad Holmes, after 5 years, whatever it's been now, he just wants to keep adding pieces. I did think it was telling last year that he added so much offensive line. We probably all get it now. He was thinking forwardly, wanted to develop some guys for a year or two before pressing them into work. You're probably going to see some of that, my guess, on the defensive side of the season as we draft overly, is my guess, to develop guys for a year and then push them into bigger roles in the future. Silver Server, good morning, Coach, and everyone. Same to you. Hopefully it's a good one. Easy E. Hey, nothing like easy like Sunday morning. Not watching? Okay, not watching the Super Bowl. There will be some like that, for sure, 100%. Keith, good morning and great salutations, exclamation point. Dan and the new crew, back at you. Trump, Elon has a 4.3 second commercial tonight. Get ready for some truth bombs, all right? Part of why you watch the Super Bowl is to watch the commercials, right? I'm assuming there'll be some... You want food commercials and trailers for new movies. Those are probably the ones that get me probably a little bit more than others. Dennis, good morning, Dan and Duke Crew. Good to see you, Dennis. Good to see you this morning, D-Money. Raider, hello, Duke Crew. I'm here for good news. Go Lions. Hey, we try to bring good, positive news to you 7 days a week. William, enough with politics, Trumps. There you go. Yeah, I'll go with that. Trumps. You won't be able to time out Elon. Okay. It would be nice to people. Otherwise, yeah, none of that kind of stuff. Isn't Christopher Columbus politics? I wouldn't think so. It's part of history. He did come on over here, didn't he? Let's see. Keith, go Eagles. There'll be, let me know who you're rooting for. Some people are going to be rooting for obviously one team or the other. Give me some score predictions too. George, Craig, what do you got? Go Eagles 34-30. I could go with that. All right. Well, let's see. Paperback fan, greetings, salutations, Duke Crew out here shoveling. Yuck. Have a great Sunday. It's already snowing? I haven't looked outside yet. All right, Johnny L. The Chinese are celebrating the year of the snake, dedicated to Ben Johnson. There you go. Yeah, it is the Chinese New Year's. Was it started last week? I'm trying to remember. I don't remember off the top of my noggin. Sorry about that. Two. Yes, correct. I got you. Phil, will the Lions try to tone down the touchdown dancing and skits? That I don't know. Lions do that more than any team, it seems. I know they seem to take great pride in it, but they're in the end zone so often that they get probably a lot more reps than almost any other team. So there's that aspect of it too. JDC, Puff, woo, coffee, and Lions Talk Live. Sounds like a great combination to me. Vincent, good morning, everyone. Same to you. Pierce, Reddick, no. Crosby, maybe. Depends on price. Garrett, same. Yeah. I wouldn't overpay for either Crosby or Myles Garrett. I like both players, but I also think both players come with to me at least, a little bit of a question mark, and it is a price tag. If you can, if it was me, if you give up a first round, maybe a third round, and maybe a fifth rounder to acquire one of them, I'd probably go with that as long as it's all this year. I would be asking for a sixth and seventh in return. Johnny L. Puff, away, JDC, 100%. 9 drinks, we need Hooker. I like Hooker, and I get, man, it's the offseason. Everybody's going to speculate about Hendon Hooker. Is he the backup in the future for Detroit? Is he going to be a part of this trade or that trade, or we're going to draft a different replacement? Until we see that kid actually go out there and do something, it's just part of the nature of the beast. We're going to see everybody talk about his future. Pierce, I'm at the point now we go get Hendrickson. I do like the idea of Hendrickson because I do think, I know we talked about it earlier this week in the show, I don't think it's going to break the bank to get him as far as draft picks or even contract. Bring Garnett home since Vincent E. A lot of people would be happy if we could do that. JDC, Philip, everybody is a professional dancer nowadays. Hey, you gotta have professions, right? You gotta make that money. Phil, not 2 first rounders. Crosby has had 3 surgeries. I think I could be wrong, Phil. Don't hold me to it, but I think it's more than that. I could be wrong though. He does have in recent seasons. He's had some health and stability issues for sure. If you pass the physical, one first. One first. I'm down with that. J. Rod, good morning, coach and crew. Woo! Back at you. Theo, we need Hooker so much that the Lions went out to get Teddy Bridgewater back for the playoffs run. 9 drinks. Could be that too. Philip, good at pushing buttons, coach. Hey, I do hit buttons. Buttons. And sometimes I have to find the buttons. J. Rod, JDC, what up? Patrick, anyone who plays opposite side of Hutchinson will have the potential of having a very good season rushing the passer. Yeah, assuming Hutchinson is all healed up, rested up, etc., and he's going to have a long time this offseason to further heal up. Yeah, I think that person opposite of him is going to have a pretty productive year. Philip, do we need a new kind of woo? Not many wooing these days. It does seem like the woos have kind of died down a little bit, and I'm okay with it. You guys want them, though, you let me know. Pierce, don't need a defensive tackle, so the first KC guy I'm out on. Fair enough. J-Rod, Reddick, too short. No thanks. All right. Robert, greetings and salutations. Back at you. JDC, J-Rod, just killing me. Shooting the breeze with fellow Lions Talk Livers. Yeah, nothing wrong with that. Have fun with it, my friend. Derek, good morning, Coach Crew. I wonder if Skipper and Iffy would be a part of the new Do Crew intro next season. I think there's a strong likelihood both of them are gone. Now, maybe the team decides to re-sign him, but just start with this. Skipper, I do think Manu's going to take over that role, which means do you need 2 guys in that role? Skipper, you heard DC talk a lot about him this year, really enjoys everything he does, what he's brought to the table. Heck, he even started at left tackle a couple games and did a fairly adequate job, I'd say. I guess if you keep Skipper, it's probably more for depth. Iffy, man, oh man. I don't think we're going to be able to re-sign Carlton Davis and Iffy just because I think they're going to basically play the same role. Who do you keep, though? Because, man, Carlton Davis has had some injuries in recent seasons. Iffy's been injured almost every season. That's a tough question for Brad Holmes. JDC, everybody will be back to square one tomorrow then. Let's go. War games begin. Let the war games begin. Go Lions, 100%. And I agree. Everybody come tomorrow morning is 0-0. Pierce, why wouldn't Skipper be back? It's just my opinion. I think it's just because they may want to ascend Giovanni Manu into that role and spot, but we'll see what they do. Pierce, Iffy, I'm calling it now, goes to the Jets with Derek Barnes. I'd say there's a strong probability for that. J-Rod, Slay, Quan Diggs, Kyle Van Noyen for depth. Yeah, maybe we bring them all back. Wouldn't that be something to bring the old crew back? Philip, is there a reason Sheila is not as visible as she used to be? We used to see her in the post-game locker room videos. Yeah, that's a good question, Phil. I don't know. I know They usually put the camera on her once or twice a game. You can see her up in the press, or excuse me, the owner's box, etc. But I don't see her doing as much, post game commentary as she once did. Let's see, Phil again. Let's Slay retire a Lion where it all began. Yeah, and hey, just since we're talking about Slay real quick, remember there are a whole lot of fans his rookie and sophomore year that were calling him bust and terrible, wasted pick, etc. And then year 3 he turned it on to the point where obviously he's had a real good career. So the fact that you see Terrion Arnold doing so well as a rookie, I think his upside's really going to be good. All right, see, George, Sweat, yes, okay, we'll go with Sweat. J-Rod, Trey Smith, okay. JDC, woo! JDC, woo! We're bringing the woos back. Pierce, I would love if Slay came back. Yeah, I wonder if you could almost have him take the Iffy Melifano role. All right, JDC, Philip, here's one more. Woo! All right, the woos are back. Philip, if Stafford wanted to retire line, would the team consider it? Like a one-day contract, just so he could sign it and then retire? Probably something like that. I don't think they're bringing him in to potentially be the backup to Jared Goff, and I don't personally see that he would want to be Jared Goff's backup. But I've been wrong before. Johnny L, JDC, Puff, give me. Okay, well, we'll give you a Puff. Pierce, Philip, why Goff is under contract for the next 3 years? Okay, just asking. Yeah, I could see other players have done in the past, where they sign a 1-year deal and then retire with that particular team. Something like that I could see. Pierce, and some, I think they've worn out their welcome. Yeah, some of them maybe have. Courtney, no Garner Johnson, question mark. How about Darius Slay? Yeah, I think that could be one in play. Laughing out loud, greetings, salutations, Duke Crew. And Courtney, Garner Johnson, I want to say, don't hold me to it, he signed a multi-year deal with the Eagles, so the Eagles would have to cut him, if I'm correct. Pierce, Cup's different story that would be fun to watch. Yeah, could be a different story. Yeah, for sure. Phil, Dan, are there any Chinese basketball players good enough for the American leagues? Absolutely. As far as if you're talking about NBA, yes, there are quite a few. I wouldn't say it's the vast majority, but I could say probably 25-35% of them could play at some point on a bench for an NBA team. There will be a lot more if you want to consider the G League. JDC, early Chinese prophet, you folks says go Lions. I'll go with that 100%. Philip, please do one last play-by-play for us. Yeah, won't be tonight, man. Unfortunately, yeah, I've got some other things going on for the game, etc. Philip, oh yeah, 100%. The non-laughers, unfortunately, I'm rooting for history. Exclamation point. Don't like the Chiefs, hate Mahomes, but to see something never done before in football. Yeah, the 3-peat, yeah, could happen tonight. Sorry, I had to clear my throat. JDC, you folk is a very wise man. Fair enough. Courtney, 3-peat, Kelsey proposed to Swift and end of game like Mary's Lara. Okay, yeah, could be that. Maybe he bends the knee after the game and proposed to T Swift. Could be. I know Jen would love it. Robert, there you go. JDC, and the clincher is he's a Lions fan. Hey, how about that? J-Rod, trade Goff for Stafford, Cup, and a pick or two. Something I heard, really. Could they trade Jared Goff back to the Rams for Stafford and Cup? I mean, it's possible. Philip, Wu Fung Poo is a very wise person. There you go. JDC laughing. Ben Johnson flung it. Yes, he did, Robert. Robert, Ben Johnson, most hated man in Detroit. I got to imagine twice next year, he may be the most villainized person in Detroit media. Miles Barker, Villager Rose, welcome to the chat. Grit, 100%. Welcome on over to the Duke Crew in the show. JDC, Dre Forge Rocks, Andy Rolls, Hookadoo, good morning, Miles Marker, one pride. I'll go with that. Pierce, spicy ground chicken nachos. Now that sounds good, especially with some hot sauce. Philip, shrimp cocktails with giant shrimp and very hot sauce. Hey, I like the way you guys are thinking. Henry Moore, discover the fountain of youth. That would be a great find. Hey, this fountain of Mountain Dew. There you go. Miles Barker. Good morning, Hookadoo. Grit through the game where we should have been. Yes, we should have been in the Super Bowl. Hookadoo, I'll watch the Super Bowl for the commercials. I can care less who wins. Yeah, kind of just enjoy those aspects of things. I am personally, myself, I don't really care who wins, but I will watch it kind of in the background while I'm doing some other stuff. JDC, the basic non-event frozen pizza. There you go. There's a place around here, Jasper's Pizza. When I used to coach at a place called Lawton High School, coached there for, I think it was 11 years. I used to love stopping on Friday nights and pick up one of the pizzas. That was just very, very good. Philip, Dan has found the fountain. He's actually 75 years old. Yeah, I enjoy my Mountain Dew, and I do swear by it. Tate Wade Profits, if we get Myles Garrett, we won't be in the Super Bowl next season. If we don't get Myles Garrett, we won't be in the season next year. I hope we do get him. I just don't want to give up 2 or 3 first-round picks for him. That's just my personal opinion. Shaft, the Dan Campbell doesn't win a Super Bowl in the next 2 years. Is he done with the Lions? That'd be a great question. I guess, Shaft, what I would say is it depends on what happens during those seasons. I mean, if he keeps winning the NFC North, keeps contending for the NFC title game, etc., that's where you're probably in a tough spot for Detroit. Maybe he's hit a plateau. The only thing I would say, man, is be careful, because sort of like when we talk about replacing Goff, it's a whole lot easier to get worse than it is to get better. A lot of people want to move on from Jim Caldwell when he had us in the playoffs, whatever it was, 3 straight years, and that did not go well when we wanted to bring in what's his name from the Patriots? I don't even remember his name, and I don't care to. Let's see, Henry Moore. I like baked barbecue beans! ! Mine, you don't need hot sauce. Hey, I like me some hot sauce on everything. Pierce Tayway Profits. What about Trey Hendrickson? I'd be okay with him. It doesn't have to be Myles Garrett or bust, but I think you do need to add something to that defensive front. John, good morning, Dan, and the world famous Dew Crew, Lions Roar, and woo! All right, back at you, and thank you for that, John. Good morning to you too, Michael. I am doing a shot for every no call on the Chiefs night. Man, you might get a few shots in then. How about that? JDC Magic 8 Ball says defense wins the big one. I concur with that. Trumps, I take my timeouts as a badge of honor. All right. But did you take a timeout? I don't know. Phil, 12 inches of new snow here. That's a lot of snow. And yeah, I hear we're going to get some for sure. JDC Trump's genius. I live in vicariously through you. There you go. Hey, sometimes you got to do that. Troy D, greetings and salutations, everyone. Back at you, D. Hopefully, having a good start to your day. J. Rod North, okay. Miles Meyer, Trump's genius. I'll take your timeouts as a relief from a hate spew. All right. Troy D, sorry I'm a little late, Duke Crew. Anytime, man. Sometimes you got things to do, right? Let's see, Mark. When will you know about Hudson returning back to 100%? Mark, that's a great question. He did say he was about done. I think he was saying he had 1 more week or something like that in rehab when he did his press road junkets this past week leading into the Super Bowl. So it sounds like he's basically through rehab and et cetera, and he's good to go. But we'll find out come training camp, OTAs, et cetera. JDC, Philip, you win maybe 2 to 3 inches of new snow here. I haven't checked outside yet. So Big Daz, go. Pierce, Mark, GE sound good, just good to me. McAfee's show sounds like be back already. Yes, correct. Does sound like that. Big Daz, good morning. Duke Cruz, same to you. JDC, getting real in the D. Go Lions. JDC, Detroit D. No more being late. You will be fine. There you go. Yeah. Trump's laughing out loud. JDC. Michael, what do you got? Everyone asking for the Lions to draft Sawyer from Ohio State should stop. They haven't drafted any Ohio State players since Brad and Dan arrived. All right. It might be. We'll see where they go. Trump's genius, you haven't blocked me yet, Miles Meyer. I don't believe so. Miles Meyer, you definitely hating the next 4 years. All right. Philip, Trump, I'll ban you if you don't stop. Okay. Let's see. Randy Parsons. Oh, what about Z-Man Smith? Do they bring him back? He's still got 1 more year on his deal. So unless they cut him, I don't think they're moving on from him. At least that's my thoughts. Michael, Lions will 4-peat. I like the way you're thinking. Detroit D, laughing out loud. Understood, my fellow Duke Crew brother, JDC. I'm back at you with a thumbs up. Trump's, after all the trash talking Stafford, stupid old lady, no way. Could be. Could be. Courtney, double Russian vodka prune juice. Okay. I'll leave that one to you. Let's see, Trump, I could care less if we win the Super Bowl as long as we're a competitive team. You're in and you're out. I'll be happy. Yeah, I mean, I would love us to get to the Super Bowl, win the Super Bowl. I think all of us watching would. But having the days be done with where we're just not even relevant, to me, hate to say it, but that's a victory. Let's see, Courtney, Powerade for Gary Panthers. There you go. Laughing out loud. JDC, Courtney Nichols is laughing. Pierce, Courtney, double Russian vodka and cherry lime Sprite for me. Well, enjoy it. Dr. Detroit, no Slay. He isn't strong or isn't good. 9 drinks. Bacon wrapped scallops put a step in your mojo. That does sound good. Does sound good indeed. Takeaway profits. Draft Mike Green. I know there's some people pushing for him. Kid's got wheels. I think he's going to have to beef up a little bit to be a defensive end for the Lions. John heard Goff and Hudson were trying to recruit Myles Garrett. I did, there was some pictures floating around, them both talking to him during Super Bowl press junkets, etc. Could they try to bring him in? 100%. I think it just ultimately comes down to, John, what the price of acquisition would be. The social worker, for the love of God, let's keep politics out of the den. Yeah, 100%. No politics here. It's a politically free zone, unless we're talking about the Mountain Dew. Anymore, is Trump taking over for Broski? No, Trump's definitely a Lions fan. Trump does need to stop the political stuff, though. Let's see, I missed one here, I think. J-Rod must be sleeping, doctor. It's okay, bud. Us real Lions fans know what Slay has. I'll go with that. Let's see, JDC, for some crazy reason, I am getting thirsty and hungry. Hey, about that time, man. It's Super Bowl Sunday. Like the old photo Trump, I didn't see it, so I'll have to check it out. Stop the three cheat. Hey, there you go, Derek. Stop the 3 cheat. Dr. Troy, that explains a lot about the fans just want to be good, not win the Super Bowl. Yep, it is what it is. Pierce, seems like Amon-Ra is really trying to get Cup here. I'll have to check into that. Yeah, hey, it would not be a bad addition if he felt he could stay healthy. Phil, it's a nice hairy picture. The Harley picture, excuse me. It's a nice Harley picture. Keith, yes, bring in Hendrickson. Good call. Yeah, I'd like him. I like him a lot. The last podcast said it all. I'll go with that. His last podcast. Thank you for that, Pierce. John, Dan, I agree. J. Rod, you can go back to sleep, doctor. Must be hungover. It happens, man. It's getting ready for the Super Bowl, right? Derek, whoever we get for the defense line will have to come in at under $15 million a year, something like that. Yeah, for sure. Mark, I believe Jared Goff will get us to the Super Bowl next year. Me too, man. I think it will be Super Bowl season in Detroit in 2026. Anymore, I have bacon wrapped dogs, deep fried. Some friends of mine introduced me to that, whatever it was, 5-7 years ago, where they wrapped the hot dog with bacon, put a toothpick through it, and let it cook. Those are not bad, especially with hot sauce. J. Rod, I'm not sure. I'll go with that. I'll trust in that. The social, be honest, guys, I've struggled keeping my attention to football after our loss. I'm still grieving. I suppose I will watch the game tonight, but that loss hit hard. Yeah, I think you're in the same boat with all of us. It's just, hey, at this point, all you can do is get hope back and start focusing on next year, because next year is going to be the year. Tay Wade, don't want no other team in the NFC to win the Super Bowl if it ain't the Lions. Fair enough. That's the way to be. Dr. Trey, no. We just want to be good. Laughing out loud. Hey, I want us to win the Super Bowl. I want us to win the next 20 Super Bowls. Philip, what's the hottest hot sauce? When Jen for Christmas got me if you guys, what's the name of the TV show on Hot Wings? Hot Wings. This guy who interviews celebrities, and every question or whatever, they got to eat a different a level of hot sauce. We're gonna get some people over here and try that out. To me, I want to see how high on the list I can go. So I enjoy hot sauce. The only problem I have with it is when they're doing hot just for hot. There's no flavor. At the end of the day, I want to eat something. I want it to have flavor. J. Rod, I'm with you. Trump's there you go. Guy Frady. All right. That name sounds familiar, by the way. Let's see. JDC, thanks for a great season. Coach Dan, you rock. Hey, you guys rock. Duke Crew rocks. And you know what? We're already on to the next season. All right, guys, I'm going to go ahead and get out of here. Go enjoy your Super Sunday with whoever you're going to enjoy it with. Go have a great day. As you're checking out, hit the subscribe button, hit the thumbs up button, the like button, all those buttons. Be a kind person. Do something kind for someone you don't know. Be a good human being. And we'll see you all in the next Lions Talk Live. Day 1 for next season begins tomorrow.
Excuse me, sir, would you... Donations to Reverend Moon? Jews for Jesus? Read about Jehovah's Witness? How about Buddhism? How Jerry's kids? Oh, yeah. Scientology? Or nuclear power?